Hey everybody, welcome to the Recovery Clinic. My name is Ashley and I am so excited to bring a great story here for you guys today. But before we get to that, I have got something really exciting I want to talk about. So we have our peer program throughout the state. There are 75 counties in the state of 79 counties in the state of Arkansas, and we have a peer in every county but 28 counties. We need to get a peer in every county in the state. We are now taking applications for you guys to become peer specialists at NAADAC.org. That's NAADAC.org. I just want to list a couple of the counties that we have that we need peer specialists in. If you have 2 years or more in recovery and you have some lived experience, we would absolutely love for you to fill out an application. We have Calhoun County, Chico County, Clay County, Columbia. We have Logan, Madison, Mississippi, Monroe. That's just a few of them. We've got several more. Next week I'm going to list a couple of more that we have. But right now I want to introduce our special guests. Today we have the Johnson County Opioid Response Team. This is investigator Mickey Huber and peer specialist Joseph Cruz. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome, awesome. So let's just go ahead and jump into this. Mickey, do you want to tell us about the COAP grant?
The COAP grant is the Comprehensive Opioid Abuse Program. What it is the federal government is giving money to the states to fight the opioid epidemic that's happening here in the United States. It is a growing epidemic. It's rising every day. Our borders being more open now after the recent COVID crisis, we're starting to see a really influx of opiates coming into the United States for illicit purposes. It also assists us in the investigations of that, as well as the investigations into medical malfeasance of doctors or pharmacies or medical personnel that are not properly prescribing these controlled substances and causing people to have overdoses. And it gives us the money and the resources and puts us where we can actually respond to this crisis.
Right. Awesome. Okay, so we have, I think there's 6 different counties in the state who actually are a part of this program. And so we refer to these as our opioid overdose response teams. So, Mickey, what made you decide that you wanted to work with narcotics?
I started out my career in 1993 in law enforcement, and I saw the crisis in the early 90s with methamphetamine and how it rose. And I was working in Northwest Arkansas, and I was afforded an opportunity to become an investigator with the Drug Task Force. And I took that chance to learn, and I was really surprised as working in patrol for over a decade and coming into going into narcotics enforcement, what was really out there, and going into some of the houses, going into these investigations, seeing the kids in more of an investigative role than a response role as a patrol officer. And it was something I'd always wanted to do, and once I got into it, it's just something that I love to do. It's not the busting the drugs and busting the people selling the drugs as much as it is protecting those innocent people that are affected by that, and that is almost every person in our state, in our communities, whether it's the children that are having to live in drug environments, to the elderly having their medication stolen, or just the average citizen that has their ATV or a car stolen from them because somebody's trying to support their habit. And so that's what interested me into working narcotics and continue in the narcotics field. One of the other things is shortly after I become a narcotics investigator, one of my children, one of my daughters, ended up meeting a guy and fell into the world of addiction. And I always describe it to people as being like a firefighter rolling up onto a house that's on fire. And to sit there and watch your own child fall into that. And like a firefighter rolling up, they hear somebody screaming in that burning house, and they get the hoses out, and they find out that the pump's not working on the fire truck, and all the air is out of their breathing apparatus, and not being able to go in there. And that's what I felt like. Here I was, a DTF agent, watching this and just being absolutely helpless.
Right.
And me and my ex-wife, we had talked. We didn't know what to do. There was really, at that time, there was really nobody to talk to like we have now with our peer specialist that we have here at Johnson County. So there was nobody to reach out to, even the other agents and stuff. Nobody had really answers for us. We called the drug treatment facilities, and all of them pretty much had the same answer. Was, she has to come in. She has to
initiate the
help.
contact. Yeah.
So she hit. Finally, it came down to a point of tough love. We got to the point where no more money. And, we wouldn't give her any money. We wouldn't say, "I'm hungry. I'll feed you, but you can't take no food home with you. I'm cold. I need a coat. Well, I'll buy you a coat, but I'm gonna cut the tags out of it." And it had to be that tough love. But eventually, she became to that rock bottom, that help. And even then, I had to say, "I can't help you. You've got to help yourself. You've got to want it."
Right.
And she went into treatment. Did the 90 days in-house treatment. At the end of the 90 days, and we were just, grateful. And she calls me up. She goes, "I'm not ready." And so she did another 30 days. And, it's been, I think, now almost 8 years that she's been clean. She's got 2 beautiful children. And I'm just so proud of her. But I know from that experience, that people can get help if they're given an opportunity, if they have somebody. She was lucky, and there's a lot of people out there who have no one that will be behind them. And that's one of the things that I've ever since then that I've always tried to do, even before this program, is try to get people into treatment, try to help them, and if my philosophy had always been, if I can get 1 or 2 people, help, and they move on, become productive citizens, then, I was a success.
Right. Absolutely. And that's a powerful story. That's an amazing story. The truth of the matter is that there's probably a lot more very similar to that, I know my dad was in law enforcement, and so he sat beside me and watched me go through it for over 11 years, and he was completely helpless. There was nothing he could do either. And it's hard. It's very difficult to watch somebody suffering that way. And we know when you're standing on the outside, you know the answer to the problem, but it's so difficult to get between, the problem and the answer. Unless you have someone like this guy back here, right?
Absolutely.
So this is Joseph Cruz. He is a peer support specialist for Johnson County. Joseph, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So my name's Joseph. I'm a person in long-term recovery. So from a very young age, I felt different and separated from everyone. So through growing up, through high school and everything, I found a crowd that would accept me, peer pressure, whatever you want to call it, that started bringing me into using drugs and feeling a part of. So through that experience, at the age of 17, I was looking at my first time of going to prison.
Right.
At 18, I went to prison, did 10 in, and had 20 out. So through this course of time of going in and out of prison from my teenage years, I got out at 22, going back again at 24. You know, I tried doctors, I tried everything, trying to figure out what would work for me, and I just couldn't figure it out. So the last time that I got in trouble, looking at another 35 to life, I was desperate, asking everyone. You know, I was sitting at my table, looking at stuff, going, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And I told my probation officer, I said, you need to lock me up or I need some help. And I went in there 45 days saying, I need help. And they're like, no, you're scared. You're that. I'm like, no, I'm ready to do something. And the drug and I'm grateful for the drug counselor there at the parole office. And it kind of gets me emotional because I can still feel that feeling today. And I think that's truly one of the things about being a peer support specialist that's vital, is that, hey, I need help and I don't know what to do.
Right.
And through that, I was able to go to treatment and start learning about substance use disorder and getting a deeper understanding. You know, going to prison, I went to a drug treatment thing in prison, but I was still so close-minded at that time, I didn't really hear what was going on. I was there, I served my consequences, but I truly believe through this, in the last 8.5 years of being in recovery myself and finding a way out. You know, there's lots of different opportunities in lots of different places, and I found mine in a support group that helped me truly take a look at my insides, look at what I needed to do, my manageability and everything. So through this, I found a home, a support group that was able to help me, and it's over 8.5 years that I've been clean. So through this is having the opportunities that I never thought were possible, like actually working for the state and you know, being a convicted felon. There's no way someone like me, and that, you know, that's a thought process of all those times of filling out a job application of, hey, you know, I'm probably not going to get this job. Hey, I'm not going to get this job. So through this of living that experience and knowing that any help that was available to me, and that's where I found someone that was like, hey, quit trying to lock yourself up. You know, hey, I've been through this. This is what I did, and this is how I got to where I'm at. This is how I got this job. You know, those negative things that I was always taking a look at, like, didn't think I was very good at communication. You know, the isolation and all that. And he's like, how many people did you usually talk to? And it's like, I talked to, you know. So through that is getting a different perspective and sense of proportion on all that, that was able to help me get to a spot where it was, okay, these old feelings, these old thoughts of, hey, I'm not smart enough, I can't read good enough, and all this. To have that support and people that believed in me, that were able to help me, I mean, all the way down to being able to pronunciate words correctly and reading better, writing better, you know, going to the adult education and getting wage certificates and going through that process to not just be doing that job that I know everyone's using drugs at, to being where I am. And I've been truly blessed through this process. I never thought I'd be sitting here talking to you about, hey, recovery is possible. There is hope for us.
I mean, it's kind of crazy. I've known Joseph for over 5 years now. I guess almost 6 years I've known him. And the crazy thing is that, you know, I went to a treatment facility in Russellville in 2015, and whenever I got into some 12-step meetings there, Joseph was a pillar in those 12-step meetings. You know, he was someone that you could really look up to, ask questions, get answers, and, you know, that was the memory I had from him. And then, you know, whenever I got into the peer recovery world, he was already here, and that was just, you know, it was great knowing that there are people all over the state that we're connected with, that we all come back together. Okay, so, you know, how did you guys end up together?
Well, I was already employed at the sheriff's office as an investigator, and we were afforded this great opportunity to have this grant, and I was approached if I was be interested in working as the investigator on this grant. And the way that our program is working at Johnson County is there's 3 of us. We have an investigator, we have Joseph, who's our peer specialist, and then we have an administrative assistant that is, I mean, she's like our GPS. I mean, Jeanette does a great job of taking care of our paperwork, of getting our meetings and stuff scheduled. And anyway, we come together as a team, and I mean, that's how we all came together. Is Joe is already working as on the PAC program, and I had already talked to Joseph several times, and our team was handpicked by our sheriff, and that's how we came together.
Wow.
Our sheriff is a big believer in this program.
And that's amazing.
Yep.
That's absolutely amazing. I find that it's most often a blessing whenever you have everyone behind you where you are, you know, and you're definitely going to succeed in your ventures whenever that's the case. So now I know that you're the peer support specialist in this duo or trio, we'll say. We definitely don't want to leave her out because I know how important it is to have that extra hand. So kind of tell me about your roles together. How do you guys end up, because I know there's certain things that Joseph can't go with you to do, and I know certainly that there's things that Joseph does. And so how do you guys work together and, you know, balance off of each other?
Well, we laid out our ground work right off the bat. As far as an investigative side, you know, Joseph, you know, obviously he's not going to be involved in the investigation part of what the program is. So I do the investigations, and Joseph does that recovery. But when we get a call, and it's focused, you know, a lot on overdoses, a lot of times when we roll out together. But there are times when I may be on something, or I may have talked to somebody on another case where I tell that person, look, you know, you know, and they'll mention, I want help, and I'll be like, I got the guy, and I carry Joseph's cards right with mine, and I'll ask them, do you want to talk to you know, my team member, Joseph? He is a peer support specialist. Everything that you say to Joseph, everything that y'all talk about is confidential. Everything that y'all deal with is confidential. Just like it is with me, as far as information comes in for investigations, it stays confidential with me. The stuff that Joseph does with them, with the folks that he's trying to help get them into recovery and to reintegrate back into our community, that's all confidential. So, and Joseph does a great job. We've been on several overdoses in our county. And I like to brag on him. I know he gets embarrassed when I do this, but there was one case where we went out on it was a methamphetamine overdose, and when we got there, the guy was having a bad experience with meth, and he didn't, obviously, seeing me, I'm the cop. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to, you know, but I told him, you know, said, will you at least talk to the peer specialist is here? And I introduced, you know, Joe. We try to, Joe calls it a warm handoff. And you know, I introduced Joe, and I say, I'm leaving everything that you and Joe talk about. And I explained to him, Joe is not a law enforcement officer. He's here to help you to get help, you know. And Joe got in there in the back of that ambulance with that young man, and the man was not wanting to go to the hospital. And Joe, next thing I know, Joe opens up the door and goes, hey, I'm going to go ahead and ride up there with him. And I sit there and watch Joe sit back down, reach out his hand, and hold that man's hand all the way to the hospital. And in that case, which was amazing, is not only did that guy go into recovery, but also 3 other household members in that house. The whole household went into recovery, and I don't know the rest of the story because I don't pry into what Joe does, but I do know that they all went into recovery, and I
That's a huge success story.
That's
huge,
amazing,
huge. And it was this. We had a conversation one day at lunch about because I personally know, being in that methamphetamine psychosis, like, there's not a lot of ways to calm yourself down whenever you're in that paranoia that, oh, it's horrible, I can't, and so I can honestly say only having someone else who has been through it could possibly help bring you down even a little iota, so, I think that that's great. And a lot of times I think people think that when we have this overdose team that it's, strictly opioids. I know that question comes up. Mm-hmm. And so you just answered that by saying that, if there's any kind of issue, it doesn't have to be just strictly an opioid overdose. If there's any narcotic involved, you guys get him involved. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more.
About that?
Well, not necessarily that situation, but
peer recovery?
Yes, tell me about what you do.
So through peer recovery, it's a little bit more than just being in recovery. There's a little bit of training, going to classes, continued education. Mm-hmm. And in that certain case right there was having some more information, support groups, stuff like that, that's just not the group that I go to, but actually learning breathing techniques, motivational interviewing.
Right.
Being able to go, okay, just watch me, I've been here. Let's just breathe for a minute. Let's take this moment. Mm-hmm. Instead of looking at everything else, and being able to have that one-on-one that someone that hasn't personally been through that experience, and being able to walk with a person individually, one step at a time. Not looking at the big picture, but that step. Okay, we're going to calm down enough, let the people that know what they're doing take care of us. Let's go on to the next part, and being able to actually be right beside someone, being able to walk through it, rather than, oh yeah, I'll help you out on the telephone.
Right.
There's something on that one-on-one that you can't get any other way.
Exactly. So, tell me what you guys are doing in the community.
We are right now. We're going around. We're still, on the ground level of getting our program going. We've got a really great start, but one of the things we're doing is just public awareness of what our program is, changing, some of the ideas that some people already have, going to the fire departments, talking to the other law enforcement agencies in our county, explaining to them what our program is what our program is capable of, and also the grant provided us with equipment, and letting those agencies and those people know we've got this equipment now, and some of it, in my opinion, could be life-saving equipment that we have just on the investigative side. We're also facilitating the Narcan classes to the public and to our public safety in our county.
Right.
And so a lot of public awareness, a lot of public education. We plan on, we're visiting every fire department, every, civic group that we can in the county, to tell them our story, to tell them what our program is, and then we're going to follow back up with that with schools, with drug awareness education with the schools. And then also one of the things that we've talked about is going back to these public safety agencies and doing some awareness classes as to what fentanyl is, what opioids are, what a micro lab is. So with that firefighter or that first responder or that average citizen sees that they'll know that may be dangerous, or that lab right there, that is a lab, we need to back off of this. Awareness, like with the Narcan, as to what, the symptoms are for an overdose, for an incidental overdose. So, just getting out there and getting that awareness out there that we're here to help. It's not all about, putting people in jail. I mean, we want to put the dealers in jail. We want to find out if there's medical malpractice on medical personnel, but the bottom line is that victim of that overdose or that person that's has that addiction problem is to try to fix it to where they're not a continuing drain on the taxpayer, and get them back to where they're facilitating a living, taking care of their kids, their parents,
Right.
themselves, especially
Right.
themselves.
Right, absolutely. There's no telling how much money I wasted in and out of the hospital, and all of those. It's just unreal, to think about. And the drug problem right now is so dramatic. I mean, it literally hits every household in some fashion. So tell me about what you guys have seen happen since you started this.
Go ahead.
So one of the things is, especially being in a rural community, one word that I learned recently is paradigm, changing the paradigm. I'm all used. When I learn new words, I start using them, there was a lot of closed-mindedness, especially on the Narcan, going around to the fire departments and everything. And through sharing the experience of, hey, it's not only here to help the people overdosing and stuff like that, it's family support. It's getting the community involved. There's a lot of misinformation out there, so people are like, hey, we're not doing this. And being able to go out there and not just have, Mickey on his side, but actually being there personally saying, hey, I was that person. There wasn't help. And when people looked at me and said, well, he's going to go wherever he's going to go, rather than being like, hey, we're here to help you, And one of the amazing things that I've especially seen in the fire departments was, hey, look, Narcan's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Bringing the awareness up about the Joshua Law. A lot of people don't understand, if you get an overdose or anything, that you can call and there's help, rather than getting locked up because of minor possession.
Right.
So through that, and actually talking to a lot more people in the community and trying to collaborate and find ways, there's several people that I've been talking to recently. We started off with the PAC program in the jail, and then we went over the COPE grant. So I'm still working with the guys in the jail, and as soon as the jail opens up, we have several people in the community that have already built up some programs that they want to bring in. So through that is saving the people money and actually getting help. That was one of the things with me, was getting out of jail, and it was like, okay, I got this place to go, or I got this place to go. Bringing the awareness up of treatment centers, recovery houses,
Right.
support groups.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I have seen was, like, there was a small 12-step group, and there was another group that wasn't even there, and then the last year of being able to have like 2 support groups there, 12-step groups, and working on getting some other recovery-based groups in there, faith-based groups of helping individuals out.
Right, because
So-
we don't always follow the same path.
No.
My pathway to recovery may look very different from yours, and that's okay, as long as we all get to recovery,
And that's the major thing about it, is bringing the awareness up. Hey, there's lots of pathways. I went lots of different directions before I found my pathway.
Right.
So having that experience too, of saying, hey, what I'm doing might not work for you. And I'm grateful to have that perspective on it, rather than that closed-mindedness of, hey, this is the only way.
Right.
Because I have lots of friends that are going to church now and been clean 4 years. Got married, have children and everything, and that's the way they did it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have some friends who are, went strictly faith-based, and, I have other friends that went strictly 12-step meeting. So, I mean, different things work for different people. With me, it takes literally some of everything. Literally.
We've even seen some of the feedback from the community as far as us getting cold calls, just from knowing that the program's there. We've had a few of those already, and which are, you know, outstanding because it's just showing us that this program is actually working. And I got a call from some medical personnel that were at the hospital, and they called me in the middle of the night, said, hey, we got a young gentleman up here. It wasn't an overdose. This gentleman was having some other issues, but had said something to one of the staff, and the staff, you know, we'd come there and, you know, talk to the staff about our program, and they picked up that card that we had left them and called us up, and of course, you know, heck yeah, you know, this guy's wanting to get treatment. He's saying he's got a problem. You know, no problem. It's all confidential. We immediately, you know, I pick up the phone, get a hold of Joseph, and Joseph responds. You know, it's not
awesome.
an investigative issue. It was
strictly let's get somebody some help. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, it's great to know that not only do we have people like us on our side, but we have people that are on the opposite side of the spectrum. You know, it's not all about lock us all up. Clearly that doesn't work, right? You're a living example of that.
And that's part of that choice argument.
Right.
That we learn about. You know, you can hold a gun to my head, but until I
So
get to
you
that
make the
point,
decision.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I might stop for that moment, but if I don't have anything to help maintain that, it's sort of like going to a doctor, you know, for like my heart medication. If I don't continually go back to the doctor and take care of stuff, I'm going to be back in some problems that I had before.
Exactly.
So it's the same here.
It's kind of like having diabetes and having to, you know, you have to continually do what it takes every day, or you're going to get real sick and lose an arm or a leg. I don't want to lose any arms or legs. So I've got a message here that I want to read because I think it's, you know, pretty beneficial to this. I have a gentleman here by the name of Daniel Norton, and he says, hey, Joseph, I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for me, and I'm glad you're my peer leader. I went through the PACT program in Johnson County, and it truly does open the mind to a better life if you're willing to accept it. And that's just, man, that's powerful right there. You know, and there's other people in here who are talking about, you know, how much you've helped them and how great you are. And that's, you know, and that's, it just attests to the fact that regardless of your past, what you're capable of doing whenever you take your past, you don't close the door on it, you accept it, and you use it and move forward. You know, and especially whenever we have people who are totally on our side for it. So let's see here. This last piece I've got here, and then, so I just want to say one more time while we're on here. We are looking for peers in 28 more counties throughout the state. And if you've got 2 years in recovery and don't have a murder charge or a sex charge, we are definitely taking applications at NADAC.org/Arkansas Peer Program. And so, you know, in our peer programs, we get to do stuff like exactly what Joseph is doing today. And being able to go home at night and go to sleep knowing that you did everything that you could to help somebody get to this side of the spectrum, you know, that's an amazing feeling. Tell us exactly what it looks like right now, where you guys are sitting at, what exactly you've accomplished.
Well, right now, since we started the program, last year we showed, I think the state showed us at 11 overdoses. In-house numbers, I believe, were 24. We've already at 16 overdoses. You know, not just opiates, but other controlled substances as well. So we're definitely, you know, since April, above the trend. So we're well above what our numbers are. So that just shows you just how, you know, we're having an influx of controlled substances into our communities. Joe is definitely out there. How many was it that you have?
So just like one of the individuals that are on there, I'm still helping them through it. There's been 7 individuals that have been released from jail, through everything that we've been doing on the opioid program, been able to help 7 individuals. The one that I was helping in the ambulance, his girlfriend and another friend, got them seeking recovery, working with them even today, getting places to live. And I do have to kind of brag on them. Is one of the lady, you know, she's got a full-time job now, working with DHS, keeping her kid, staying clean. You know, the gentleman's in recovery. He's in the treatment. He's looking at going and trying to find him a place and everything. Proud of, and I'm proud today. I'm proud of even Daniel of doing what he's doing. Is, hey, look, you give me a little hope in this. I'm going to do this even with the questions of, I don't know if I can.
Right.
And being able to be right there going, hey, look, if I was able to do this, you can do it too.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I normally give the last few minutes to our guests on the show. If they want to talk to anyone in the community, if they want to make just a general broad, statement. But I just want to kind of open this up where, you guys can just give the community a piece of your heart.
Big thing that I want to express is that if you have an addiction problem, we're here to help. Okay, you come into us. We're not gonna look at you, down at our nose at you. We'll get you some help. Whether you contact me at the sheriff's office, I'll put you into contact with Joe. You can get a hold of Joe directly. All you got to do is just call the sheriff's office at 479-754-2200. Ask for Joseph Cruz or ask for Mickey Huber. We will facilitate you getting some help. If you have information of any type of illicit drug activity, you can get a hold of anyone there at the sheriff's office. They will get it to the narcotics investigators, including myself. All that information is held in confidence. We will not, divulge where we got that information. We want to get this poison off the street. We do not want to go see young people, older people, or whoever dead from an incidental fentanyl overdose because they thought that hydrocodone or that roxycodone was what they thought it was, and it ended up being a fentanyl pill. That stuff is out there. It's deadly. Me nor Joseph wants to go and have to investigate or, in his side, console the family and help, help like that. What we want is to get them people into treatment before that happens.
Absolutely.
We do not want to bury. We've come this far in our communities to facilitate this. This is a great program. It's there, and it can do a lot of good. We just got to get to that mindset that the people who want help, we've got to help them.
Exactly. Do you have anything to add to that, Joseph?
I just want to thank you for inviting us
Oh,
up here.
absolutely.
Well, of course.
And thank everyone that believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself. And to the community everywhere, there is hope. There is a way out.
There absolutely is.
And for the community is, hey, when we work together, we can make things better.
And we'd also want to thank the state of Arkansas for facilitating these grants for us and our quorum court there at Johnson County for believing in this program and supporting it, and the sheriff's department itself. Getting the sheriff.
Absolutely,
thank
Sheriff
Stephen
you.
Is absolute believer.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Is actually having the Johnson County Sheriff's Office going, hey, we want someone like you in.
Yep.
That wasn't even a
Absolutely.
thought or an idea. It was like, nope, never going to do that, to new dreams and possibilities being opened.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes.
So, real quick, I want to do a shout out to Tasha Wilson. She is another one of our PACT peers in Sebastian County, and I just want to shout out to her. Everybody send some love and prayers her way. She just had a surgery and is doing better. Now, one more time, if anybody out there wants to be a peer, do the kind of stuff that Joseph's doing, be able to give some awareness to the community, let people know that there is a way out, that we don't have to do this alone. Please, please either contact me here on the Recovery Clinic, or you can go to NADAC.org/Arkansas Peer Program, and we can definitely look at those applications and get that going. We're doing live in-person trainings now again, and that is so super exciting. Well, gentlemen, I was really excited to have you guys on here today. It was a great show. You guys are such a blessing. Isn't it a great thing to say that you're a blessing to society now instead of wreaking havoc? I know I feel better about my life now. Anyway, thanks, guys. Please tune in next week, next Wednesday. We've got someone here. Her name is Angela. She is the, I believe she's the owner for Face to Face Therapy, and I am so excited to get to talk to her. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.